you are so used to living in your head. You're so used to being, mentally preparing and visualizing and working and clearing out the cobwebs and, dealing with old identities that you forget that there's a second part of the manifestation is inspired action, is working on the stupid thing that you've been
Yeah.
living in your head. So, going from the phase of creating to manifesting is its own challenge.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Break the Norm podcast, where we break free from the so called normal and build something real, bold, and unapologetically you. I'm Ruth Solorzano, actor, producer, and living proof that you can come back from most things.
And I'm Lily Shaw, actor, mentor, creator of Shine Anyway course, and someone who's never believed in playing small. It's time to break the norm.
Together. Okay, we're back. And we were talking last episode about transformation. And I wanted you to finish your story because you had talked about how you had spiritual transformation and you're kind of like in the process of what kind of transformation would you call it?
Yeah, I feel like now I am in, I want to call it physical transformation. Because I think after what the spiritual transformation essentially did for me was it put me in touch with my authenticity. And it allowed me to be like, yeah, just because other people are scared of acting doesn't mean that I gotta be. Like, I can portray and I can, like, be myself and pursue this. But the physical expression of my spiritual work hasn't quite come to the level that I wanted it to be. So, after having gone through what is essentially like this 15-year journey, I now understand that life is created inside out. This may not be something you believe in. This is certainly something that I have come to accept, that everything that is outside is first inside. Ew, that's a weird way of saying it. Like everything gets created first in your mind. Some mystic teacher once said that everything is created twice, once in your mind and then once in the physical world. So I feel like I'm in that place where what I want to create in the physical world lives pretty well developed in my mind, in my mental world.
I believe that.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like in the last 15 years, as I have become more spiritually connected to myself, evolved and more connected to myself, the more, the clarity, the certainty, the concept of saying yes to yourself, that kind of stuff is becoming very potent within me. And now I'm in the second phase of the second step, which is to create it physically in the world. So that feels like the second step of completing this transformation, which I have to tell you is its own beast.
Yes.
Because you've got to, you are so used to living in your head. You're so used to being, mentally preparing and visualizing and working and clearing out the cobwebs and, dealing with old identities that you forget that there's a second part of the manifestation is inspired action, is working on the stupid thing that you've been living in your head. So, going from the phase of creating to manifesting is its own challenge. So that's where I'm at right now. I am literally like this year for me has been the year of transformation of where I'm actually taking literal steps of bringing my dreams into manifested present 3D reality, of which BTN is a first step.
Yeah.
know?
I mean, that's, I do fully believe in that. I mean, I said it in the previous episode how even just, taking a vacation and seeing my friend there, and I had already been really putting it out there that I needed these other relationships, that I needed something other than work around me, that I needed to feel like I had friends,
I know that feeling.
And I had been visualizing it, and but then I also took action. Maybe I didn't take action to see my friend in Palm Springs. That was kind of the universe doing its action. But, I have a hike scheduled tomorrow with a friend, and I am actively being like, okay, if I want this, what can I do? What can I do right now in this moment to make this thing happen for myself? And that's part of it, right? Is like taking control of
Mm-hmm.
your life and realizing that you are the one who can change things for yourself. So, it does take action, right? Like we had talked about earlier, like the dirty word, which is discipline. Discipline's the dirty word here. But at the same time,
The dirty
you
word.
do have to kind of make that decision. I think one time you had talked about it in a different way where you had described discipline differently to me. Man, I'm trying to remember, but I remember I had said discipline and you were like, there's a different way of talking about it. I guess that was probably the transformation thing that you had talked about, right? So let's talk about the nuts and bolts of transformation and like what we do, what you do in your everyday life to be like, okay, right now I'm gonna make this thing happen for myself? Like, what is a first step for you?
Oh boy. I think I have learned, first of all, not to put that pressure on myself of I have to make this happen.
Mm-hmm.
Because this brings me back to how this podcast has actually come together, which is that you and I met because we did a reading of my script, my short
Mm-hmm.
film that I wrote, and you
Mm-hmm.
read the character that I, believe it or not, had actually written for myself in my head as like it comes from like a real life experience that I was going through at the time. And then you read it and you felt like this was my story.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, how amazing is that, right? I was writing it from my vantage point, and yet somehow in it you found yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So, that connection started from the script. So I went to that script reading with the idea of seeing that how to make it better so I can get that going and making that, which is still on the agenda. But out of that came this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So that idea of not knowing how the different modalities are going to and like intersect with each other is a big part of co-creation, of taking it out of your own pocket and saying, you know what, this is my idea and I'm going to trust what let me tell you, like, pause for the cause. I was having these like screaming things in my head for like almost 2 weeks before I submitted my short film for consideration to be read at the live reading where we met.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was just like, oh, I don't know if the film is ready. Like, maybe I should do another pass before I have like real live actors read it.
Mm-hmm.
And my intuition slash mind was screaming at me to like submit, submit, submit.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason was because we were supposed to read it and you and I were supposed to connect.
Mm-hmm.
And this is again, like, manifestation in process, because you're actively creating people in your life that are outside work, right? That feel like they're kindred spirits, that feel like they're part of your soul tribe. And I was being forced to, like, by the universe going, hey, you've got to submit your script and you got to have people read it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the amalgamation of these two, like, opposite, aspects coming together. And 5 months later, 6 months later, we're doing this.
Yeah, and what I'm hearing you say is that the first step is kind of putting yourself out there.
That right?
Taking
Isn't that
the
interesting?
leap,
Isn't that interesting? Because
yeah.
that's how you're hearing it. And for me, it's like my intuition wouldn't shut up till I like submit it. So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna submit.
And you did it, and that's kind of it, right? Like you kind of just have to take a leap. You have to take the chance. You have to
Trust.
You have to trust
something.
Something's going to happen. Maybe
Yeah.
it's not the thing you thought. Maybe
Exactly.
it's not what you expected. But something is going to come out of it. Whether you're making a relationship with someone, whether you're just learning something new when you're there. Like I am such a believer, especially as like an actor who doesn't come from money. I am
Who does?
such a proponent of doing free shit. Like, I'm like, go do it. Like, just go do something. Like, there are so many free opportunities out there. And that was how I came across, like, your reading, right? Like you said, I was just on Instagram, just looking for stuff to do. One of my big commitments when I moved to LA was to meet people and to just meet people, just meet people, just create community.
And you're still doing
And
that, right?
oh yeah, I'm very much doing that still. And that was one of the first things I did when I came to LA was your reading. I think it might have been the first thing.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I'm just gonna go do this. And you know what's funny is it was on our anniversary, mine and my husband's anniversary. This is why he's amazing and he loves me so much. This is why I need to create space
Hint,
between
hint.
work and personal life. But he was so great with me, and we just went into this reading, and then I met you, and everything kind of developed, and we went to coffee. And staying committed to what you're trying to do is so important, like, and not being afraid of things going a different way than how you think it's gonna go.
I absolutely, absolutely. And this is the first step of transformation also, because the idea of transformation really is accepting that what you have known to be in the past to be true doesn't need to be the truth going forward. So I think that is where transformation begins. So like I wanted to come and have a short film read and see if I could make it into something else. And I got this created, and I found somebody who, I mean, the similarities that you and I have, it's beyond crazy. How we have lived our lives. We have both taken a very distinct journey to get to where we are. And somehow essentially we've landed at the same spot at the same time. And I think that idea of being open to more than one possibility, being open to more than one thing as true, plurality, is the number one step of transformation. That is this thing that's going to get the ball rolling. Absolutely.
Yeah, because you just never know. You just never know. And if you're staying in your home, if you're just not doing anything, if you're not putting yourself out there, then no one's going to see you. And like, you're not going to be able to get the thing done. And yes, of course, like, there's a time and a place where you should, if you need to stay home and work on your thing and do the thing, right? But if you're trying to create something, you can't just do it in a vacuum. Like, we need community. We need each other.
And I think that actually nicely dovetails into the next component, which is that it's also like about honoring your cycles. Recognizing that when you're in the creation stage and you need to be by yourself, in the hermit mode, staying at home, integrating, reading books, that is a very valid option,
Yes.
right? And then recognizing like what's happening to me right now is like, okay, there's enough creation. Let's get the show on the road. Like I got to start putting this stuff that lives in my head out in the world.
Make the thing.
Feel the fear and do the thing.
Yeah, make the thing even if it's bad. Even if because it's probably going to be bad. At least your first few times.
I don't know.
It's going to be bad. I'm sorry, guys. It's gonna be bad. At least for the first, 10 times, it's going to be bad. And that's okay. And being okay with failing and knowing that failure is such a good thing in so many ways, and it gets such a bad rap. But so many people failed before they got to where they are, like you just have to.
It's all a failure till it's a success.
Exactly.
That's what it is. Like it's a crapshoot and then something clicks.
Yeah.
However, it's being open to the idea that, hey, I'm going to fail and not call yourself a failure is what essentially transformation does for you. It allows you to keep trying again and again without like minimizing yourself or minimizing your value to the world, right? And I think being seen is such a wonderful concept. I'm a huge fan of it, right? Like what you were saying, like put yourself out there. If no one sees you, nobody's going to work with you. And that is just as important as you seeing yourself.
Yes.
First, see yourself, recognize your value, make peace with what you love about yourself and what you hate about yourself, and then let the world see you where you are. And good, bad, ugly, none of it matters because it's going to feel aligned and it's going to feel honest. And it's not going to, like you said, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad because it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to resonate with somebody.
Yes.
It's going to connect to it could literally be the thing that somebody needs to hear in that moment. It's the intention why we're doing this, right? Because we're hoping that somebody who is going through the same kind of crap that we went through is going to listen to our stories and be like, hey, there is a light at the end of this tunnel. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're not robots. Like things are not going to be, we're not chat GPT. Okay. This is not virtual here. This is real people. We sweat, like we have to recognize that's okay and to stop judging ourselves. I love that part that you said about, you know, knowing yourself and kind of like figuring yourself out before you're able to like put yourself out there. That was so important for me.
We both did that. Isn't
Yeah.
that weird? Like,
Yeah. I had to figure myself out. I had to, because I just didn't even know my voice yet. And I think figuring out your voice
Yes.
is a big part of it all. And the only way that you're going to figure your voice out is by making, is by doing, is by soul searching, is by meditating. Like all of these components lead to like a lifestyle change that you can incorporate into your everyday life, because it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen in a year. It doesn't happen in a couple years. It happens with lifelong habits
Commitment.
and commitment and
Discipline.
change. Dirty word. But yes, exactly.
And the great thing is about, like, if you keep showing up, and whether that is in the world or in your home, to yourself, at some point you would have done enough of the work that's needed that whatever change you're in the process of making naturally sticks. Like, I can use the simple example of like intermittent fasting. Like, I've been an intermittent faster for like 10 years at this point in my life. But when I first started, I was like at 12 hours. And then 12 became 14. And then 14 became 15. And
My
now
goodness.
now I'm like 16 to 17. And I struggled with it
Yeah.
for years. And I used to hate myself. I was like, why do I suck at this? Why am I so bad at it? But do not do that. Do not self criticize, right? But that's the natural process, right? Not liking where you are because it's not where you want to be. But I just kept doing it to the point where now it's not even a thought in my head. My body just automatically, like, I can literally by the time in my body can tell that it's 4 o'clock, because I generally do not eat after 4 o'clock now, because that's that has become my intermittent fasting schedule. So that is the process, but it took me 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
And it started at 12. And when people said, and then there is the bad information, because I thought you were supposed that 14 was the good number. And then like years later, somebody said, oh, no, it's 16. 16 is the fat loss moment, that when, you've got to like hit 16 hours, that's when your body steps into the fat loss moment. And I thought it was 14. So you also have to allow for misinformation and bad information that, even well-meaning people can sometimes give you.
Yeah. I mean, don't take everything we say and everything everyone says with a grain of salt, right? Because we all have to kind of make decisions for ourselves and know what's best for us, because we are all not the same. We are all different. We all have different bodies. Like, I can't imagine intermittent fasting. Like, I support you, and I can't do that. Like, if I don't eat in the morning, I have the worst headache and feel sick. So I have to eat every morning. Like, I eat
Yeah, me
every
too.
morning.
Me too. That's why I skip dinner, because I gotta eat breakfast.
Right. But I mean, I gotta eat dinner too. But
Well,
but I feel the same way, in the way of like, even just what I talked about the previous episode about my weight loss journey. It was really hard. I was in college when I lost all that weight. I had so much pressure from just the lifestyle of a college student and what you eat and what you drink and what you do, that I had to like pull back and make the decision for myself. And then after a while, after a few months, and like even after a year of doing this, it became second nature. It became a lifestyle change. It became, oh, I'm not going to go to Jack in the Box and get 4 tacos and a Dr. Pepper and jalapeno peppers.
Oh, wow.
Yes, that was me. And now I'm like, I have oatmeal in the morning. I had my rice and my steak for lunch. I have learned to do what's best for my body and what's going to keep me healthy and keep me sustainable and keep me going, because that's it, right? It has to be sustainable change. It can't be just something that's like quick. It has to be something you can keep at it.
So, like, what is it? Like, if we don't want, if we're saying officially saying that discipline is a dirty word,
Mm.
then what are we saying it takes us to keep going on the journey?
I
What?
mean, you said commitment. I think commitment's a good word, maybe.
Okay,
I
but
don't know.
what is it like? What was it for you that made you go? You know what? I think I want to. This is my path.
I mean, look, I say discipline's a dirty word because I know a lot of people don't like that word.
Yeah,
But to
me
be
either. I
to
hate it.
I know. And it does like remind me of being a kid, and I feel like you have to be disciplined in order to do things and blah 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 blah. And yes, I hate that word too. But it was that. It was me like really making that decision to just be like, no, I'm not going to do this right now.
Well, what was that moment of decision then? My guess is like that must have been an important moment, right? When you said, "Hey, enough is enough. This weight's got to go." Like, what was that moment like?
Hmm.
That made you like sort of pivot into discipline. Let's put it that way.
I mean, it's so interesting because I'm such a physical person too. And like one of my first physical education classes that I took when I was at community college, uh, this is horrible, but it was a boot camp. It was like a fitness boot camp.
Oh my God, I love those.
Okay, good. But you know, military connotation,
Yeah,
blah,
yeah,
blah,
yeah,
blah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
My brother-in-law's in the Air Force, so you know, I have respect to support our troops, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway, I did take a boot camp class, and there was something about it. The fact that it was, I just felt like I had a purpose. I had an
Yeah,
intention.
yeah. I was about to say that.
And I had just a thing I had to do. It almost made it feel like I craved that, I think, a little bit. I think that I was a little lost and didn't really know how to do a lot of things. Honestly, I was really naive in my early 20s. I didn't know a lot. I had to learn. It was a lot of education. Um, and I think that helped. I think just having an intention and having that commitment and that goal in mind and just, I don't know, thinking about like we said before, kind of like manifesting it in my brain, just like visualizing like the way that I wanted and knowing that I was the one who could make that happen. There's like something thrilling about that. It's almost like changing the mindset, right? Like it's almost like instead of thinking about it like I have to do this disciplined thing, I get to do this thing. I get to make the decision about how I want my body to be. I get to make the decision of like how I want to think, how my mind, you know, like finding the thrill in that and turning it on its head. Because I feel like so much of what society feeds us is like you have to do this, you gotta, like for other people, but it's more of like finding that within myself that fueled me to be able to make those hard choices and those hard steps because it's not easy. And it doesn't mean I didn't fall off the horse many a times, and that's okay too. And realizing that that's okay too, and just getting back on and just keeping it going.
I think you, wow, wow. I think you like hit a couple points that I feel like we need to talk about in much more detail. One is the idea of purpose, and the second is the idea of intention. And then you said flipping the switch. And that is central. My God, is that central because it is the flipping of the switch. You know, spiritually, my mom calls it like your third eye opens.
I love the third eye.
Yeah, and that moment when the thing that you want to do becomes the thing that you will do is that like that intention. It's that flipping of the script where I experienced it in my life many, many times. And like the first time was when I decided to be an actor, when the thing that people said is the most difficult thing to do. And I was like, it ain't no thing for me. I got this.
Yeah.
It ain't nothing. Nothing. Not even like, and that moment when you take control of your own story, of your own narrative, and it becomes the thing that gets you to wake up in the morning. That is the moment where life changes and it becomes you literally go from thinking about it to creating it.
Mm.
And I think it happened for you. I think when you just said like that, you got to do it, and I think I personally am in that phase where I'm waiting for that moment of, when do I get to do it? Like, when do I wake up and be like, yeah, I don't care, that this is going to be a rough journey. I'm going to make my whatever, like, I'm going to write my script today. I'm going to do my scene today.
Mm-hmm.
When it goes from you have to get to, I think that is the moment of transformation. And
Yeah.
it comes from like clicking into your purpose, into your why. And spiritually, it's the intentions, clicking into your intention.
Yeah. And what's interesting too that I've realized is it also perspective has a lot to do with it. I think, I mean, so one of my favorite things, as a trauma survivor, as someone who has had to deal with a lot of trauma in their lives and getting out of that, I used to read a lot of memoirs. I'm a big memoir fan. I just
I used to read biographies.
autobiographies, yeah. I
Yeah.
love a memoir because not that I don't love autobiographies, but I love a memoir because I don't know, it's like a little bit more like juicy. Like you get to kind of like get these like other stories that maybe an autobiography. I don't know, but anyway, I love me a memoir because, to be honest, I'm like, oh, there are people who've gone through way worse than I have. And I think having that perspective of like what it could be also helps me because I'm like, oh, I'm privileged. I have the privilege to do what I am doing right now. So many people don't get to make this decision that I get to make. And to me, the fact like not taking advantage of that privilege is such a disservice to so many people that don't have that. And I think of myself as a trailblazer and as, a woman who of color, a Latin woman who was destined to be a statistic, and I have changed my destiny to make it so that I am able to do big things. And I know that my grandmother didn't have that opportunity. I know that my mom is an amazing woman and she's doing so many things, but she did not have the same opportunities I had. And so knowing that I have that power to change my own narrative, there's something thrilling about that. And there's something like I have a duty to make it happen.
So, what you just said, that you have the freedom to choose for yourself that your grandma and your mom didn't. So that puts you in the place of like in a position that not a lot of women find themselves in, right? Where they have the freedom to be who they want to be, and they're also kind of unapologetic about it. So I want to know, like, how did that change your perspective? Like, going where you are now and where you started, having seen your mom and your grandma live the life that perhaps the world expected them to live. So what has shifted inside of you?
What has shifted inside of me when it comes to just like my
Like, what made you want to say, fuck this is my life, I'm owning the shit out of it, I'm rewriting my story? What do you, how, somebody who's listening, like, what would you recommend they do so that they can start owning their shit?
start talking to yourself in a better way.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think I had to
Yes.
change that. I had to change the way I was talking to myself and recognize that I was talking to myself in a negative way. I think for a long time, I just thought that was my voice, my inner voice.
Oh,
I just
wow.
thought that
Yes.
that's how it was and that's who I am and I remember seeing it was like a story or something and it was Alicia Keys and she talked about this like I don't know who it was, but somebody had told her at one point to like look at herself in the mirror naked. Like look at yourself in the mirror naked every day in the morning and just pick a part of your body that you maybe have talked down to yourself about. And what if you just loved it? What if you just changed that like voice that you have instead of saying, oh, my arms are so big or something like that, saying, oh, I love my arms or thank you to my arms for being there and for being strong for me and for allowing me to do everything that I'm doing. I think we've talked about this before, but gratitude, finding that gratitude in what you have and who you are, and really working on your mental mindset, on shifting your mentality, and taking the time to do that, because it takes time and it takes effort and it takes consistency, um and just allowing it, and it starts small, like you don't have to do this like big thing. Like, take 5 minutes after you get out of the shower and just look at yourself and just love yourself, and even if you don't believe it, even if everything in your mind, everything in your being is telling you no, override it. Like, press the button, be like, nope, I'm gonna say this. I don't care, even if I don't believe it. Because eventually, like you said before about, you're eating, your intermittent fasting, eventually your body will, your mind, it's smart. It evolves, it learns.
It also finds out that it's safe to change because the mind, it has one job to keep you safe, and so it keeps you buckled down. And the more you can show it that it's safe to change, it's safe to eat less, it's safe to work out, it's safe to go to a boot camp, the more it's going to be like, cool, let's go, it's time to wake up, let's go walk. So it's making your mind comfortable with your new comfort zones.
Yeah. And, I remember I had a friend who I recommended meditation to, and they were so, they told me about it, and how they cried. They cried when they first did it, and they stopped. And I get it. It was overwhelming.
Yeah.
And I can see how that can happen.
Yeah, it happened to my brother the first time he did it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He cried too.
It's common, right?
Yeah.
And it's about then taking that, and instead of running away from it, leaning in,
Yeah.
which is hard.
I think that's where clicking into your purpose comes in, because once your intention is set and the intention is coming from you versus coming from outside of
Right.
then the hardness of it, yes, it's challenging, but it doesn't feel impossible. And it also feels worth doing, which is where I think people are able to, do what they want to do because they're no longer scared of the challenges. They're more interested in getting the results than being stopped by the challenges. So I think that perspective shift is paramount, right? To understand that once you are where you need to be, once you have clicked into the thing that is your heart's purpose, then the obstacles will disappear. Yes, I know it sounds cheesy. And the pursuit of the goal is the only thing that stands out.
I like that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me.
And you were just saying about like the seeing yourself naked, and I'll share a personal story here. One of my like spiritual stopping points was like this of looking yourself naked in the mirror, because I, as confident as I'm so weird, like sometimes as confident as I was always terrified to look myself in the mirror. And I remember the first time somebody recommended that exercise to me. It's like, wake up and look yourself naked in the mirror. And I have to tell you, there is nothing more powerful than being able to look in the mirror. And the body dysmorphia, I think it's called,
Yes.
is so real, because what people tell you becomes your reality so quickly that when I took off my clothes, yeah, with the music playing, and stood in the mirror, I was like, wait a minute, this ain't as bad as people have been telling me. I don't think I hate myself as much as I'm supposed to, and all of a sudden, the tail end of it is like, I actually did that. I actually started being like, hey, you know what? My body isn't that bad. And that was the first time that I dropped like 20 pounds. It took me like 3 months to drop 20 pounds because I was like, this isn't bad. I'm not bad. Body isn't bad. It's all right.
Yeah. I mean, sorry, go ahead.
I was actually going to say that we should ask our audiences right now to like look at their body part that they hate and just like send it some love.
Yeah, send
Do
yourself
it
some
right
love.
now in this moment.
Send
Like,
yourself some love.
yes,
It's
like,
so important.
just like there is this very very popular influencer on YouTube, and she talks a lot about this manifestation.
What's her name?
I don't remember. and she talks about this manifestation stuff a lot. And she talked about how she grew her hair back out just by sending it love. She just kept saying she loves her hair. She loves her hair. She loves her hair. And she was like 42, 43 at the time, and she was starting to lose hair. And she literally documented how she grew her hair back just by sending it love.
Yeah. I mean, look, like the power that your mind has, like it's kind of magical. Like I don't, I don't really believe in magic, but
Really?
uh,
That's not true. She's an actor. You believe in magic.
I
She believes in Disneyland. Do you believe in Disneyland?
I
Do you
mean,
believe
it's
in
a
Disney?
place. I know you're a Disney
loves-
person. That's right. I forgot.
Tell me you love love stories
But
right now.
of course, I love a love story. But no, I'm serious though. Like that is so true. Like it's about mindset. I mean, I joke about this. I am not a religious person.
What?
But but I do say that people who are religious and pray, I swear, sometimes they are the most successful people I have ever met. And it's because these people literally find a thing and they're just like constantly thinking about it. They're constantly manifesting it. They're constantly like going for that thing, that goal, that commitment. And they are relentless until it is there and they are visualizing it. And yeah, maybe they're asking some being or whatever, but like that in itself is so powerful to be able to do that, to see that thing and to know that you're going to get there because you believe in something.
Sadhguru, who is a mystic teacher from India, talks about why people who are categorically, called stupid, tend to be most successful manifestors because there's nothing in their brain that stops them from bringing in what they want, and that's how faith works, right? Because your mental mind is so focused on the thing and you are so full of faith that you can literally bring in what you want. And that's why religion has been successful to the point that it has, because it takes away the mental anxiety and allows you to focus on the thing that you want. That's why it's been so successful. At its best, that's what religion is supposed to do. Right. It's supposed to teach us how to get in touch with our truth and get rid of all the anxiety and trauma and the fear and the conscious mind and its blocks, right?
What? You mean I'm not praying to a white man in the sky? No. Oh, sorry, guys.
Ruth's personal stuff is coming out.
We'll take. Sorry. Anyway, but yeah, that's so.
Isn't that interesting?
So interesting.
Right?
Wow.
And he talks about that, and his name is Sadhguru, and he's very famous, and you can look him up. And I was blown away the first time I heard that, and I was like, oh my God, that makes total sense. Because we keep fucking ourselves up with our own stupid, skepticism and questioning, and I must dot my I's and cross the T's. It's like, stop. Just believe in the stupid thing. Believe that you can have what you want. And whether you are believing to, a deity, or, a goddess with 49 arms, or, some bearded guy, it's all cool with me. Yeah. Or you're just tuning into yourself and you're talking to your higher self. It's all about walking walking by faith and not by sight.
I like
right?
that.
Right?
Yeah.
Next time on Break the Norm Podcast.
Apparently that's a thing. I don't know. Someone let me know in the comments. Is this a real thing? Like, do people not have inner voices? Do you not have an inner voice? Like, I'm just curious. Thank you for tuning in today's episode of Break the Norm.
We want to give a very special shout out to the team that's making this podcast possible. SCV Studios, our editor, Eileen Hanley.
Our producer, music and sound recording, Hugo Fowler.
And before we leave, we ask people to subscribe and leave us a review. We are everywhere you listen to your podcast. And that's it. We'll be back, right? We're done?
We'll be back.